Everybody, and a very, very warm welcome to the final EU transition webinar that we've been running over the course of the last few weeks in conjunction and partnership with our friends and colleagues from Hertfordshire Growth Hub. Today's EU transition webinar is about supply chain and imports. My name is John Woodruff. I'm Business Support Manager at Hertfordshire Chamber of Commerce. And we have a very good number, distinguished number of speakers and panelists coming up very shortly. I will introduce them to you before too long. But just a couple of background points. The usual thing, we will be recording today's event, and all other webinars that we've done have been recorded and are on our website and Herts Growth Hubs. And also Q&A. I'm sure you have quite a few questions which both our speakers and panelists can delve into. We can't promise to answer everything, but I do promise that we will get back to you with an answer as and when we can. But if you could put those questions, please, into the Q&A box at the bottom. I'm sure you're all familiar with webinars, but I won't need to go on. So without further ado, we do only have the hour. I'm sure you have lots of questions. There's lots to talk about. Can I hand over initially, please, to Lisa Armstrong, who is Business and Strategic Development Manager from Hertfordshire Growth Hub. Lisa, over to you.
Lovely. Thank you very much, John, and welcome to everyone. I'm just going to get my slides shared. Hopefully you can see this. Okay. Fantastic. So I'm really pleased to be working with the Hertfordshire Chamber on this series of EU transition webinars, of which today is the final one. Just wanted to give you a little bit of information on Hertfordshire Growth Hub for those of you who aren't familiar with our services. So we are led by and delivered on behalf of Hertfordshire Local Enterprise Partnership. We are delivered by a consortium of partners led by Business Support Specialists Exemplis with the University of Hertfordshire and Hertfordshire Chamber of Commerce. Most importantly, our support is free to access and available to all businesses in the county, including the third sector. In terms of how we support businesses, we really are that central point of access for support. So to really simplify and help you navigate all the support that is out there and available to you as a business, we work in collaboration with a number of partners and private sector suppliers to bring you all the support that you might need for your business. For example, it might be support to start or improve your export strategy, could be advice on talent acquisition, or it could be support to access fully funded staff training through, for example, the Skills Support for the Workforce programme. Today, of course, we're here to talk about EU transition, and we do have a current programme at the Growth Hub, EU Transition Readiness Support Programme, funded through BEIS. Through this programme, we have 5 EU transition advisors in our team. Anton has joined us today, and he'll be part of the panel later on. And the role of the EU transition advisors is really to support businesses during this challenging time, to help keep you up to date with transition news, also to work with you to understand what transition means specifically for your business and to help you take action. And really the programme helps to support you through accessing events like this, and also some on-demand videos that we have on our website as well. So as John mentioned, the previous EU transition events that we've run through the Chamber, they're all available on our website to view. So do have a look, and you can watch those in your own time. Just wanted to also let you know about an event that's coming up in a couple of weeks' time. For some of you, you may have other EU transition challenges that you're thinking about that maybe won't be covered in today's session. We do have an event called Navigating Business Challenges for SMEs, which will be on the 23rd of March. That's an online event you can access and book via our Growth Hub website. And we do have Jason Krog of Rainer Essex talking at that event around VAT and EU transition, which I know is a topic that a lot of businesses have really needed to get a lot of support on. There's also other speakers at that event as well, so it proves to be a really knowledgeing session on all the things that you might be facing at this moment, including mental health and well-being. I just wanted to also outline some of the other support programs that we have here at the Growth Hub. We do have a volunteer business support scheme. So for businesses that are really looking to strengthen and respond and bounce back following COVID-19, there is one-to-one support through a network of volunteer mentors. So do have a look on our website if that's something that would be of interest to you. We do also have our core programme of support, which is a European funded programme called Get Growing Too. And this funded support helps eligible businesses to overcome barriers to growth, including management and leadership skills, access to finance and funding, and also to look at employee development, recruitment and retention, amongst other things. And that really provides in-depth one-to-one advice with our growth account managers, and also can open up the opportunity for a match-funded grant of up to £5,000 to work with an external provider to help you implement your action plan. We do also, as I mentioned, have a wellbeing and resilience programme. This has been developed in partnership with Hertfordshire County Council, and it's very much aimed around helping you as a business leader or manager address wellbeing within your workforce, as well as thinking about your own wellbeing as you're juggling lots of challenges at the moment. We do have a wellbeing guide on our website that you're welcome to download and use, and we also have an events programme including some on-demand videos on our website. So I appreciate that's a lot to take in one session. So we do have all of this available on our website. So do have a look on the site. It only takes a couple of minutes to register, and that will help you just to be able to access all the support that's available to you. So thank you very much for your time, and I will hand you back to John. Thank you.
Sorry, I pushed the button. Thank you very much indeed, Lisa. Before we go to our first speaker, I've got some building work going on. I do apologise if you can hear that. We're just going to do a poll, a quick poll, if you don't mind. So, Sarah, could we have the first screenshot up, please? If you don't mind just briefly doing this. Currently, what is your biggest concern relating to the EU transition multiple choice? While you're doing that, I'll just get them to stop doing that for a few minutes. Sorry. Steve, can I just have a break for about 2 minutes? Do you think? Literally 2 minutes. Thank you. Right, sorry about that. Okay. Lovely. So yes, I think we have to vote, don't we? So do all the above. There we go. Right. Okay. So Sarah, have we got the responses, please? Okay, here we go. Wow, overwhelmingly 69% importing and exporting, as is probably expected. 46% disruption to your supply chain. So it's a good thing you're all on here today. Hopefully we can answer many of those questions. Yeah, no real surprises there. Workforce and people, digital and data. Well, we've done quite a few EU transition webinars on all of those pretty much. So as we said earlier, do look back if you haven't attended those at what we did previously. Okay, and the second question, please, Sarah. How prepared do you feel your business currently is? I'll be very interested to see the results of this previous ones in both the run up to the 1st of January and since then have all been quite telling. So we'll just see what now. What are we, 2.5 months since the 1st of January where we actually are. Here we go, need some guidance, just over 50%, again as expected. Prepared, that's good, 31%, and unsure, not prepared, 4%. So we're certainly here to help you as well if you've got with what queries you have. Thank you very much. And the final question, please, Sarah, just a short one. And this is for Hertfordshire Growth Hub, asking whether you would like further support from the Herts Growth Hub EU transition team, which Lisa mentioned, and Anton will talk about towards the end. And the results of that will go through to the Herts Growth Hub team, and they will be in touch with you. Okay, without further ado then, thank you for doing that. May I introduce you to our first speaker, Nauza Malikshaw, who is Managing Director of Brandwin Business Support. Nauza oversees the delivery of local authority and growth hub contracts, as well as managing finance and governance. Following a successful international career with American and Japanese multinationals, Nauza joined Brandwin in 2011 and has since helped to win and successfully deliver 12 business support programs funded by ERDF and the Lord Mayor's New Homes bonus schemes, on behalf of various local authorities in London with their economic development and regeneration units. And finally, if he's not busy enough doing that, he also leads the team delivering the incubation programme for startups at Westmont Enterprise Hub at the University of West London. So without further ado, Nauza, over to you for your presentation on the supply chain, please.
Thank you, John, and thank you for the introduction, and thank you to the Growth Hub for sponsoring this and for having me. So I'm just going to put on my screen now, and here we go. Right, so a few slides on who we are, the agenda we're here today. This will take about 10 to 12 minutes, and I'll be back on the panel as well for more Q&As. Thank you all again. I'm the MD of the company, and we are members of Hertfordshire Chamber. We work very closely with the Chamber. We work very closely with the Hub, and we are extremely grateful for a program which we deliver in Hertfordshire, which I'll be talking about very shortly. Okay, so to put it into context, I'm a glass half full kind of a person. So I'm looking at Brexit. Well, there are issues, there are challenges, but there are also opportunities. We have a saying in business, where there is chaos, there is some opportunity for growth as well. We've got the AstraZeneca and the Pfizer vaccine. I've been vaccinated. I'm sure a lot of you have as well. And what we're telling our clients is there is light at the end of the tunnel, and it's time to think about rebooting, recovering, and back to growth. We're not looking at this as a short-term sort of exercise. It's a 12 to 24 month. And what we're saying is the way you can do it. I'll give you some of our examples. We're doing a lot of marketing during this period. We're getting our name out there. We're doing email, LinkedIn, Twitter. We are recruiting our new members as best as we can. We're investing on ourselves. We are training our people. And most of us are buying books and reading as well. And we're looking at innovating. Well, you don't have to launch a whole brand new product or service. You can innovate as well by just adapting your product or service. You'll see that as an example on the next slide. These examples are applicable to us, but they're also hopefully applicable to all of you on the webinar as well. So who are we? We sort of pride ourselves in saying we are the leading group of business advisors in London and Southeast. Our clients, the people we work with, are local government authorities, growth hubs, enterprise partnerships, and we do work at 2 universities, which John mentioned earlier. One of them is the Westmont Enterprise Hub at the University of West London, where we help them to start up their startup program. The people we talk to directly on a day-to-day basis are SMEs, startups, early stage, micro businesses, one-man or one-woman bands, established organizations up to 10 to 20 employees. And that's our target audience. That's the audience that the people, boxes in blue, the local government, etc., want to reach. And we are the platform to help them to reach that. These programs are delivered essentially in partnership with chambers. That is our approach. That is our model. And I'll show you that on the next slide. That's our business model. We partner with chambers and we deliver these programs through a combination of business advisors and specialists. I must add, quality assured, referenced, etc. And a lot of them have been with us for many, many years. And the programs we deliver are business sprints, which are interactive webinars, specialist workshops, one-to-one advice through business advisors or sector specialists, and group facilitation as well. And our platform allows us and allows our small businesses to set goals, to implement their key actions, and hopefully to get some results. Our services, we have a program called Goal Mapper. This is an adaptation of what we did. So I'll give you an example of how we've changed as well. This is an adaptation. And we did this, we implemented this in Hounslow, in the borough of Hounslow last year. We took 70 businesses and we analyzed them right from where they were and put together a plan to help them to get to where they wanted to. Last year was a difficult year, so we are hopefully going to be continue to be working with them after the May elections. Fit to Bid is an innovation. It's something new. We launched that last year. We got in touch with Heathrow, and we got sponsored by Heathrow and Ealing Council to help local SMEs get fit to bid, to enhance their bidding skills, to give them access to bidding, to supply chain opportunities, and to be able to talk to tier 1 and tier 2 suppliers. We are talking to HS2 and TFL, and watch the space. Peer networks, I've got a whole slide on this, so I'm going to hold on to this. This is about action learning and one-to-one sessions. This is a very special program in Hertfordshire itself, so I've got a slide which is coming up next on this. We have plans in the future to license partner territories in the UK and take over the world as well, who knows? Okay, so in short, we help entrepreneurs and business owners right from a startup stage to start, to run, and to grow their business. This is a slide which took us 10 years to put together. We are extremely proud of it because this is the basis of our business model as well. You'll see quite a few familiar logos here, but these are organizations who we partner with. We talk to them on a regular basis. We do business with at any given point of time. And it's a combination of local authorities, chambers, and other organizations like West London Business, Ealing Business Breakfast, and the British Library, where we've been there for 10 years as well in central London. Okay, so where we're coming from and where this webinar or these few slides which follow now are based on experience, based on a partnership approach. And I'm going to apply that and see how we can try to get this message across, how we can apply a partnership approach to our supply chain. Okay. Just before I do that, I said to you earlier about the group facilitation. This is a program sponsored by Hertfordshire Growth Hub. And a great job that everybody's doing, including Hertfordshire Chamber. We worked very closely with them to onboard 10 cohorts, with one social sector cohort, which is quite interesting as well. High impact sessions, and followed by 3 hours of one-to-one advice. We're coming to the end of the program now. It started off in October. We're coming to the end of the program. This month is a very busy month for our team. So I need to thank the Growth Hub again for sponsoring this, for Hearts Chamber for putting their trust in our delivery team. And I know one of my colleagues here who is the Hertfordshire Regional Coordinator, Nigel Grant. He's on the webinar as well. And I'd like to thank him for leading the program in Hertfordshire. So this is going to benefit these 100 businesses enormously. We know that because we've got great feedback and great testimonials, which we'll be publishing next month. Right. Supply chains. That's why we're here today. So what I'm going to talk to you about is very briefly about something called the circular economy. The reason is 5 years ago, when we did a program, sort of a business a growth one for the borough of Hounslow, a lady and her husband came to see me in one of the one-to-ones, and they run something called the pallets yard. The pallets yard is literally at the bottom of the supply chain. Okay, so, but it's so important that without a pallet, literally nothing moves. Nothing moves without a pallet. So they're absolutely a crucial part of the supply chain. I've been working with them for 5 years, helping them grow, sort out their finance issues. And that's not only given me a great understanding, but it's helped them as well. So they're a key aspect of something called the circular economy. Okay, and let me explain that. To put that into perspective, we have something called the green economy. We're all very sort of familiar with it, because the green economy involves, if you can see some of the symbols here, it's about recycling, it's about wind power, a fair trade, solar power, moving from petrol to from diesel to petrol to electric power, anti-fracking, etc., on all of that. But it's to do with enhancing our well-being. The primary objective of the green economy helps us as individuals, as human beings, to feel better about our role and our contribution in this world. The circular economy takes that and goes one step further. It's to do with businesses. It's to do how businesses operate in that world. And it's a development strategy for the entire supply chain. It encompasses some of the green economy bits, and it puts that into a structure where we're looking at economic growth. We're looking at suppliers, wholesalers, pallet yards, to manufacturers, to retailers, and everybody in the recycling chain. To put that into perspective again, the traditional linear flow, when we look at manufacturing, when we look at a supply chain, we look at we take something from somewhere, and we make something of it, we use it as consumers, or the company who makes it uses it, and it creates a lot of waste. Creates issues as well. That the resources are scarce. They take and make products we ship from across the world. I'll give you an example. We all love Marks and Spencer, but just last week I went into one of their stores and used my Sparks card, and I got a gift. Great. The gift was go and pick up a big mango from the store, from the aisle, which I did. I brought the mango home, and on it was written imported from Peru. One mango from South America. It blew my mind. I said, do I need a mango from South America? Probably not. Does Marks and Spencer need it? Probably not. So does Peru need it? Probably yes. So these are questions not easy to answer, but these things throw up more questions than answers. But most of this ends up in a landfill. So the circular economy, we're looking at basically taking that same linear thing and then adding extra bits on it. So we start with use. I use a product or service. That product, if it's coming to the end of life, we're looking at just last week, I think it was earlier this week, the government's mandated all white goods manufacturers to have a 10-year sort of a parts a strategy. That's great news. That will force us to reuse and repair, force them to offer that sort of a service to us as well. If we can't reuse or repair, we return and recycle. And then that goes back to take and make and reduces waste. So these four different aspects on top of the linear economy create the circular. And it's about limiting what we take and limiting the waste that we create while creating value for all. Let's put this into a perspective about the pallets yard, which I'm going to talk about again here. They play with their pallets, and their pallets most of them are wooden pallets. There are a few plastic pallets now creeping in, but they're a bit more expensive. But they buy and they sell, they reuse, they repair, and also they do all of this here to minimize and maximize minimize their waste and maximize the use of the pallets again. And that's a great example of using wooden technology to make it a bit more sort of modern as well. So what is value transfer and exchange? Looking at two business models here, two circular chains, and you can see that one person's waste becomes another person's take. As an example, we've got major sort of culprits here: bottled water, paper for printing, metal for car parts. And how do we use that and create take and waste? And when the economy becomes when an output becomes an input, it becomes a circular economy. It's to do with the supply chain. And why is it so important? Why am I talking about this here? Because we got Brexit, we've got the UK, we've got issues with EU, we've got opportunities as well. Is there an opportunity for the UK and for suppliers and for key players in the UK to invest further and create a circular economy, a large circular economy within the UK? That is the question. That is why I'm putting this up here. The benefits are obvious to all. It's about innovation. It helps us to save costs. We can access into new markets. It'll help us to develop resilience to shocks as well in the future. Pandemics, recessions, wars, or whatever. It'll help us to commercialize new IP and drive new regulation. If we're doing something new, local authorities will hopefully jump on it and create regulation around that and create a new standards. So that's the circular economy in a brief. I'm happy. I mean, you have people on this webinar. If you're a business, you want more information or more advice, you have my email address. And I'm happy to talk to you on a one-to-one sort of basis as well. But in order to, the key essence of, I bet you didn't expect this, okay? The key essence of a circular economy is your ability to create partnerships. It doesn't work on its own. It doesn't work in isolation. So imagine this is, as most of you guessed, is a cheetah in full flight. Beautiful sight. It's the fastest land animal in the world, but there's a big but coming. And the but is basically it hunts alone. Very short chase in terms of time and distance. It gets tired very easily. It can't climb trees. Cheetahs can't climb trees. Leopards and some lions can. It can't climb trees. It runs away from bigger cats, and it's got a very low success rate. You can see that they're constantly being looked at as an endangered kind of species. On the other side, I'll let you read this and absorb this. Creating partnerships is the way forward. For business, we're telling our small businesses, partner yourself out of the pandemic. Look at other people who can work with you, share your values, share your products and streams, share your aspirations, hopes, and get in touch and get into a partnership with them and get yourself out of it. For if you want a circular economy, if you want to develop a circular economy, it's all about creating a sustainable partnership. Okay. In terms of business, these elephants, they never go hungry. Nobody attacks them. They always find water and they can look after themselves. So look at I try and transfer some of these thoughts on our business as well. So look at your business. Are you ready? Can you adapt your business model and develop key partnerships? And the way to do that is look at your business model. Those two square boxes on either side are the canvas, which our team and us, we're all experts on that. That's the basis of our advice. We use the business model and its associated tool set. And in the middle, you've got two inverted triangles, which talk about creating value, looking at each other's businesses. How can we exchange value? Because a partnership is about creating a mutual understanding and benefits for both parties. Ask yourselves, what sort of a partnership you want to create? Is it based on marketing? You want to access new markets? Is it based on enhancing your supply chain? You want to integrate and apply for larger bids and tenders? You want to integrate your technology or platform, or is it a financial one where you need or you want to give a financial assistance? And the questions to ask yourself, very simple questions. Who are your key partners? Who are your key suppliers? What resources you're going to exchange? What activities you're going to exchange? And form the basis of that. I'm going to bring this slide up again because I want to emphasize that this is the way we work. And I would urge you to think about translating some of what I've said about creating a partnership into creating partnerships for developing a circular economy and changing your supply chains. The last slide, you'll be pleased to hear. This is something very close to the heart of Breege, who runs a fantastic chamber. We work with a lot of chambers. I'm not saying this just because I'm here, but Hertfordshire Chamber is extremely well run, along with a few others in West London. We work with many chambers, and I can say that very clearly and very proudly. We are honored to be working with you here. And essentially, Hertfordshire Chamber has this thing called "Let's Keep the Heart in Hearts," which I don't think anybody can copy because I don't think anywhere else it's called Hertfordshire. So that's quite unique as well. And what we're talking about here is these activities in the box here. That's buying local, showcasing your talent pool, etc., are based on the three circles, the three key pillars of we say, what do we need to do to increase socio-economic and environmental factors, driving local GDP, driving employment, being a bit more sort of a sustainable kind of a business. And it all adds up to the third aspect of which is creating social value. And the green economy plus the circular economy, the box you see here by promoting, buy local platform to introduce associations, encouraging a talent pool. This is to do with the circular economy, driving social value. So it's a very important program for Hertfordshire. I hope there will be lots more about it. I'm sure there will be as well. But to put it into context, key partnerships, look at yourself, look at your business, who you can essentially try to partner with to develop a circular economy and to deliver social value. Thank you, and I hand over now back to John.
Thank you very much indeed, for that insightful look at supply chains. Interesting you say that about the supply chain, keeping it local. I was looking up some statistics before we came onto this. 40% of UK businesses are looking to replace their EU suppliers, and around 40% of 25% of large UK businesses have spent over £100,000 preparing their supply chains for Brexit. So it's quite staggering figures there. But thank you very much, Steve, for that insight. As I say, we shortly come on to the panel and the questions, etc. And I'll ask Anna from Bowman, who I'll introduce, to maybe say a few words about issues that they're having with the EU. I think for now, if we can just get our next speaker up, and that's Alan Bracken, who's a partner at ABTS Logistics. Alan studied as an accountant. He then made the decision, very rightly, to devote all his time to learning about importing and exporting after a brief experience with international trade. And after many years of practical experience and working for others, he eventually started his own freight forwarding business, which he became successful and sold after 9 years, and then started ABTS Training, which has been going for some 28 years. So well done to Alan. And some of you might recognize him. He is our actually Hearts Chamber trainer for all sorts of things like Incoterms, etc. He's always had a ambition to become a consultant trainer, as he enjoys helping companies, I know that only too well, and individuals to learn about import and export. So Alan, if you could say a few words, please, on simplified import procedures. Over to you. You're on mute, Alan. Alan, you're on mute. That's it, you're on.
Can you hear me now? Yes. Thank you for that introduction. It will indeed be a few words when it comes to the simplified import procedure. Before I talk about that, just let us look back on the good old days before Brexit. And as many of you will recall, with tears in your eyes, it was a very easy process to import goods from the European Union. In essence, they arrived at your warehouse on the back of a truck, and you never actually thought about it. It just seemed to magic its way over within a matter of 24 hours. And I'm being very broad here, I admit. And it arrived in your premises. When Brexit came along, putting it in context, on the 1st of January 2021, that completely went out the window. Now, when we're importing, we have a split brain, or a split approach to it. If we're importing from, say, China, the import procedure is totally different than importing, let us say, from France, our ex-European Union friends. Goods coming in from China right now, clear customs. Usually this is done by a clearing agent, which you importers pay. And that procedure is done on a computerized system called CHIEF, Customs Handling of Import and Export Freight. And the declaration is made on a document called a C88. Now, this is all academic to most of you because you're not privy to this. You just get your goods from China delivered to your front door. But I'm putting Brexit and the EU in context here. So coming in from China, it's considerably easy. And as an importer, unless you're a big player and you have in-house chief capabilities, you don't worry about it. Now we come to the European Union. As of the 1st of January, we were told that you can import goods from our ex-European Union friends and you don't pay import duty on them. Well, that's not true. That's not true. That had to be qualified. And what they should have told us all, me included, that if you're buying goods from France, you don't have to pay import duty if, and here's the whole crunch, if the goods comply with the rules of origin. Okay, slightly a side issue from the subject I'm going to discuss, but you know, a very important issue. If the goods comply with the rules of origin, you don't have to pay import duty. But if they don't comply with the rules of origin, which is a totally different subject, you have to pay import duty. Leaving that aside on this. So how do we declare our imports from our ex-friends, our friends, still friends in the European Union? Well, we don't do it the way we do it from China, by just having a clearing agent make out a C88 and the goods are cleared through customs. No, we have all this palaver about temporary entries, and all of this is going to come to a crashing end on the 30th of June. So what we're talking about here is temporary. And I'm the first one to throw my hands up and say, and please don't ask me in the question and answer, what happens after the 30th of June? Maybe somebody out there can tell me, but I certainly don't know what's going to happen after the 30th of June. And I receive daily notifications from HMRC, and I really don't know. So what do we have right now? Well, we have kind of a hodgepodge of ways of getting goods in from, let's use France as the model. And we have what we're calling the Simplified Clearance Procedure. Now, whoever named it the Simplified Clearance Procedure, in my mind, had a very, very good sense of humor. It's not simplified. It's rather difficult. And it could be me. I mean, although I've been in the business about 35 years, I keep putting that down, by the way, to make myself younger, at least 35 years in the business. So I've been around quite a long time when it comes to customs clearance, et cetera, et cetera. And it's not simplified to me. So anyway, that's besides the point. That's semantics on the word simplified. So what is this simplified clearance procedure? Okay, let's just pick it up from the truck leaves France. And at that time, there's an entry summary declaration made. Now, I'm not going to go into that. If this was on trucking and bringing your goods in by truck from France, I would, but it's not. My brief is to talk about the simplified clearance procedure. So what the heck is the simplified clearance procedure? Well, it's one of these things that you can do it yourself. It's a DIY. You can do it yourself. Or you can turn to a clearing agent. And you can say to that clearing agent, please clear my goods from France and deliver them to my warehouse in Hertfordshire. In other words, you're washing your hands of the complete exercise like you would do bringing the same goods in from China. You wouldn't make your entries yourself. So just making that point, you don't have to do this. You can have somebody make an entry for you. a third-party entry to give this. So if you're doing it yourself, what is the simplified clearance procedure? It basically means it's divided into two sections. The first part is the simplified procedure, and the second part is the supplementary declaration. Okay, let's go back. What's the simplified clearance procedure? Well, the very first thing is, if you're going to do it yourself, and I say not in a sarcastic way, but the best of luck to you if you're doing it yourself. If you're doing it yourself, you register for the simplified procedure, and that is on the form CNE 48. Now, I've just printed off making a simplified import declaration. And I'm just showing it to you. You don't have to, obviously I'm not going to flick through it. But what I'm saying to you in essence is this is all on HMRC website. I'm just kind of breaking it down for you. So the simplified clearance procedure, I wake up one morning and I decide, yeah, I'm going to do it myself. So I have to register. Okay. I register for the simplified clearance procedure, and HMRC says to me, and at the same time, you must register for deferred duty. Now, for any of you who are not too familiar with deferred duty, it means bring your goods in. It's like a credit card. You buy the goods now and you pay later. You bring the goods in and you pay your duty later. Okay, so you've registered for your duty deferment and you filled out your form CNE 48, and away you go. You've been authorized. Now, what you do is you, and this I found very alien because it's totally different than anything we've ever experienced or I've experienced in importing in the last 35 years. You keep your own records. You make your own record. You don't enter anything on a computer to customs. You keep your own records on a spreadsheet. And you put pertinent information on that record sheet. What you're bringing in, the reference number, etc., etc. Now, I'm saying etc., etc. I'm not being blasé about it, but I have limited time. So what I would say to you here is go online and they will tell you exactly what records you have to keep. Okay, so you actually make your own records in the comfort of your office on a spreadsheet. And those records then are transferred to a document called a C21. And I just did it before I came online, a dummy run. And you go on to HMRC C21, and it becomes. And you answer the questions, and you submit your entry. So your entry is up in customs on a C21 document. And if you're still sane, and if you still know what's going on, later you've got to make a supplementary declaration. Now, the supplementary declaration, again, HMRC making a supplementary declaration, it's all there. So you don't need me to waste your time telling you line by line how to make a supplementary declaration. You make the supplementary declaration, and that has to be submitted by the 4th day of the month, of the next month. So if I make it today, I've got to submit that on the 4th of April. Now, in essence, that's it. In essence, that's it, with the time allowed. Yeah.
Alan, thank you. Sorry, I'm just very conscious of the time. It's quarter to...
Yeah, that's what I mean. So in essence, that is it. So I'm going to finish there. I hope I helped you somewhat to wiggle your way around the simplified clearance procedure. I'm back over to you now.
Thank you very much, John. Sorry.
You're welcome.
We've got a couple of questions. If we just quickly go to those first before we then go to the panel. We're going to the panel anyway. If I just introduce them, that's Anna Dute, who I mentioned earlier. She is team leader, customer services and export at Bowman Ingredients. We've got we've got Vicky Birch, senior trading standards officer at Hertfordshire County Council. And we've also got Anton Rugalvis, who's EU transition advisor at Hertfordshire Growth Hub. I've still got banging going on, which I apologise. So I think the best thing to do, Bamos, if you're still on the line, Sarah, could you just track Bamos down if he's there and get him to give his question, and then we throw that to the panel. I've got another one here as well, and then we go to the panel for their observations. Bamos, you've come up. Over to you.
Okay, hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, my question is, we have goods that are manufactured in Germany. They're shipped to our UK warehouse. We then store them there for a month or 2 months, and then in discrete quantities, we then ship those back to EU customers. So when the goods come into the UK, because they've got on the documentation origin EU from our German supplier, we bring them in import duty free. When we send them back out to our customers, it would appear from these early transactions so far this year, our customers are extremely angry with us because they are now having to pay import duty. Even though the goods originated in the EU, the fact apparently that they've entered a UK warehouse, no post-processing has taken place. So nothing more has happened to the goods. They now go back into the EU, and our EU customers are facing typically 6.5% import duty. Is this correct? And what's the logic behind this if the goods originated in the EU?
Thank you, Bamos. Who's going to step into the fray with this one? Anton, you're looking at.
Well, I'm just thinking that, Alan, that sounds like the sort of thing that you've just been talking about, but in reverse.
Yeah. This question is coming up all the time.
Yes.
And I would say it constitutes about 50% of the phone calls I get on a weekly basis. It's a similar scenario. On a personal level, without me going back to HMRC and asking the question, I cannot see why the EU final buyer has to pay import duty on these. And here's my rationale for that. The goods are coming in from Germany. They come into the UK, and obviously they meet with the rules of origin. Okay. Now, if they meet with the rules of origin, and forget Germany, see, they came in from Japan and they met with the rules of origin, and you're selling them to Germany. The German wouldn't pay import duty on them. So I cannot see why the German, not the German, but the European Union company is forced to pay import duty, because to me, it's a circular motion of duty-free goods that comply with the rules of origin. Now,
Anna, sorry, Anna, did you want to come in here? You had your hand up.
Yes.
A business.
Yes, indeed.
Hello, Anna.
Yeah.
I can, hello everybody. I can relate to the situation because we have been in that position, and we have found out, well, on the hard way, unfortunately, that this is part of the deal. So part of those million pages of the agreement between the UK and the EU is that is, of course, the rules of origin. And according to the rules of origin, we get exemption of the duty, if I may say this, only once. So, this is probably the easiest example. If I buy a bag from France and I pay for it, it will be, it won't have any duties. But then if I want to send it to my sister in Romania, then she will have to pay duty for the bag, even if the bag has been acquired in the UK and it is a French good, and it will go in Romania, which is still part of the EU. So this obviously doesn't make sense. If you ask me, my personal opinion is that it is not correct, in the sense that it's not fair. But according to the rule and the deal, it is correct. And well, probably there's a caveat there in very small letters saying that we can only apply the rule of origin once. We have the same situation. We are bringing goods into the UK. We have a factory in Poland, and sometimes we supply them with raw materials. Therefore, some of the goods might be of EU origin, and we have to pay duty. Which obviously is not the great thing to do, and is not ideal. But I would suggest, for the particular example in the question, to look into some special customs procedures. There are some available. I wouldn't go as far as customs warehousing, because there are some costs and some compliance to be done, and I would I don't know, I would look into inward processing relief. Probably that would be the best, but well, it is subject to authorization from the HMRC.
Bambos, what are the goods, please?
The goods are actually master batch plastic pellets. So our manufacturer in Germany makes these polyethylene pellets, sends them into us, and then we send them into plastic companies who use them in their extrusion process.
Okay, so, and you don't do anything with them when they come here? You just basically hold them in stock and then resell?
We do absolutely nothing to them, Anton. We just bring them in from our German supplier. We've got a warehouse in Norfolk. We keep them there, and then whenever we get orders from our European customers, we take a pallet and we ship it straight back to Slovenia, Greece, France, whoever. They are now complaining to us that they're paying import duty, and they're demanding price reductions from the UK to compensate them for the duty they're now paying.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what the other guys have said. I mean, and none of us work together. We're all sort of independent, but we have a lot of questions relating to this. Wearing my business hat, I'm the ex-MD of an engineering company. It's totally bonkers, this is. It's totally crazy. But sadly, at the moment, it is what is happening. Now, what I don't know is if and when this is going to change, because in theory, you are becoming now less competitive than you were, because you're being surcharged, for want of a better word, and you're having to pass that over to your customers or swallow it yourself, and nobody wants to do that. So I don't know of a way around it currently, but it is, I mean, what's happening is correct according to what everybody is being told, but I cannot see, and this is a personal view, I have to say, I cannot see this happening and continuing to happen.
Yeah, I would agree.
So I'm sorry it doesn't answer your question as to how your client doesn't pay the extra 6.5% duty, but I have a feeling that something should come along at some time to alleviate this hopefully short-term pain.
I was going to say, if this is a universal problem for the UK companies, which clearly it is, it's basically creating an inflationary climate within the EU, and there must be some kind of lobby committee, or can we get together a lobby to put forward to the EU to raise concerns? This is bonkers. This is complete bonkers.
We've only got about 5 minutes left. Can I just come in and say very quickly to Bamos there? One, this is all very much passed back to the British Chamber of Commerce, and they're in constant touch with HMG about all the issues that people like yourself and many others are experiencing. So trust me on that one. And B, we are going to plan in the next month, we hope, to have a webinar for Herts Chamber, if you like, and members and non-members to come together like this over an hour or so, thrash out some problems, issues, etc. And I promise you, we'll push all those to the BCC as well. So yeah, we are looking at doing that, because this can't go on. It really can't. So there's literally 5 minutes left. I do want to hear from Vicky and Anna and others. And we've got one question left. Is Christine Vidal there from Made in Provence? I know you sent in a few questions earlier on. Sarah, is Christine? Yes, she is. Christine, do you want to briefly ask your question. We can get back to you with the answer. I'm just very conscious of time.
Hello.
Thank you.
Which questions? Because I send you a bunch of them by email. I can't remember which one are we referring to.
Well, I was going to try and rush through all three because I think we've got answers to most of them. But do you want to start with that? Do you want me to read them out, or do my supplies?
Yes, yeah, all means.
You go for it. You read it out. You go for it. You're there.
I think I haven't imported. My business is to import produce from very small producers in the south of France, none of whom have exported to well, outside the UK or anywhere outside Europe. So they're all turning to me for guidance. My question is, am I still able to book my shipments and do my clearance myself? Or would you recommend, in view of what Alan said, that I employ a freight forwarding agent?
Can I answer that?
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, I stand by that. As you're a beginner and as everything is in a bit of a muddle, I would strongly recommend you use a clearing agent. I've a quick caveat to that. A lot of clearing agents are not taking on business because they are being swamped under these rules like we've just discussed there previous. So I would say, yes, use a clearing agent until you get the feel of your business, until you get confidence. And then if you wish to do your entries, please do them. But no, use a clearing agent, 100%.
Yeah, next one, Christine, you got a couple of questions that you had.
Sorry, I haven't got them in front of me because I've got you all on the screen.
So don't worry. Oops, I just fell on the floor as I was talking to you.
It was VAT related, so.
Yes. Yeah, will I now need to pay the VAT from the country I purchased the products from on purchase and then declare it on my VAT return? Anton, I think you looked into that one.
Yes, you do have to pay VAT on the purchase of the products. And yes, you do have to declare it. Now, as Alan quite rightly says, if you use an agent, they can actually do a lot of this for you. People refer to it as duty deferment, or there's other words. There is a way that you as an individual can register for the Customs Declaration Service. There's something called PIVA on that. And I can send you some links to that. But again, I was going to say the same as Alan. When you are new to this, it's really too much for most individuals to undertake doing everything themselves. It's very, very time consuming, very expensive. And the way to look at it from my side, again, wearing a business hat, is if it goes wrong and you can't clear, or the goods cannot be cleared, it cannot be imported easily, you've lost actually any money that you think you might have saved by trying to do it yourself. I mean, I'm very happy to have a conversation away from this because I know we're running out of time, and I do have your details, so I will be giving you a call, if that's okay with everybody, during next week, just to talk you through this.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And Anton, if you could answer Christine's other query as well, which was, do my suppliers need to provide a certificate of origin for every single shipment? Which I think,
when we say certificate of origin, people do think of a separate document, a certificate of origin. But in this case, with regard to the rules of origin, providing there is a declaration on the commercial invoice, and some people put it on the packing list also, that the goods meet the fact that they're originating in the EU, that is normally sufficient. So it's not a separate document, but there does have to be a declaration of origin on the commercial paperwork.
Thank you.
Thanks. And Christine, Anton will be in touch with you. I can assure you of that. So to take your questions forward.
Thank you very much.
Team. In fact, Anton, I was going to say a few words in a few seconds, but very conscious that we have reached 4 o'clock. So Vicky, we haven't heard from you. Vicky is the Senior Trading Standards Officer, Hertfordshire County Council. As I mentioned earlier, I know you had some connection problems, but if you're there, do you just want to say a few words, please? Over to you.
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
We can hear you but can't see you.
Sorry, yeah, I've got a few connection problems, so I can't use the video, I'm afraid. Hi, everyone. Yeah, I just thought it might be useful to hear about some of the contacts we've been having from our businesses regarding supply chain issues, things like that. So the main issues are sort of, as I'm sure you've all experienced or are hearing, is things at the ports. Food being one of the bigger ones, where it's being held up, being spoiled, a lot of costs in waste of those sort of consignments being destroyed. There's obviously, we've had one where a haulier driver didn't have the right paperwork with them when they got to the port. The paperwork did exist, it was all on computer, it was all at the various businesses and everything, but the driver didn't have it, and the port refused entry of those goods. Those goods were then destroyed at a vast cost to the UK business. You've obviously got the packaging shortages, but also an increase in the costs. And we've been hearing that some shipping costs, what did cost 3,000 in the middle of last year, is now costing them 12,000 for a container. So obviously those increased costs in that way, but also loss of income revenue from examples you've already discussed today. The fact that some businesses are now no longer supplying the EU, they're just having to take the hit, or they're utilizing their online platforms such as Amazon, eBay, etc., to shop that way, because it's slightly easier in how they deal with their responsibilities and whether they're still an importer or a distributor, depending on where they are and what their supply chain really is. And I think you may have discussed this previously on the bit where I may not have been on. SMEs don't really have dedicated individuals who focus on these areas. And as I think someone said earlier, it's, if there's people out there to help you, then just utilize them. And that's what we are here for as well. We're not just here as enforcers. We do have a business advice line for any Hertfordshire business to call us for any advice on trading standards areas. So that's like labelling, product compliance and things like that.
Vicky, thank you. That's great. I think Sarah, if you're listening in, Sarah's our coordinator for this. Vicky, if you're happy for your details to go round to people at the end, are you happy for that? Or
we can certainly share our business advice phone line and email. That's we have a different duty officer every day, so whoever you get on the day will be able to help. Yeah,
thanks, fantastic. So just make sure everyone, because that's a really important thing. Somebody said to me, I can't remember who it was, anybody who deals with food should be speaking to you from today onwards. So that's a great message. Really conscious. I'm so rushing for everybody. Anna, do you want to say any last few words? Any good news stories from Bowman or anything happening in your end that's you'd like to share with us? And then we go to Anton to finish off.
We had we did have a couple of challenges, well, a few challenges when importing from the EU, but well, to paraphrase Alan, I have washed my hands and I have used, I have decided to use customs brokers since the beginning, and I have very good customs brokers. They only contact me when they really need information from us. But well, obviously we had some challenges. We are trying to bring a pallet back from France from a customer that has been rejected. And I have just found out how to do it, but it wasn't easy, and I was trying to find this information since the beginning of the year almost. So and I did receive information, but it was theoretical, and this is what well, I knew, and probably everybody can relate with this. We had a lot of information since last year, or probably, I don't know, the first Brexit in 2018, but it is only on a theoretical level. And since the 4th of January, when we started to actually deal with it, we have noticed that nothing has been the same. And unfortunately, we have learned the wrong way, the hard way, but we have managed to learn, and we can give advice to other businesses as well. So it is not something very short, but if you would like to have more information on how we will manage to bring our returns back, you can contact me via the chamber.
Thank you, and I think you're opening the floodgates there. You're going to be very busy, but thank you very much for that offer indeed.
Thank you.
Anton, do you want to say a few final words?
Yes, very quickly, for those people that are still online, I'm part of this newly formed team at Hertfordshire Growth Hub. All of us are from a business background. As you can see from my hairstyle, I've been in business for a little while now. And what I would say is, and people have said this as well, don't be frightened to ask the question, because there is a total tsunami of information that's flooding at businesses and towards businesses all the time about all aspects of EU transition. I'm actually very glad I'm not running an engineering company, which I did for a number of years at the moment, because sometimes you don't know where to turn. We will not know all the answers as this small team, but even just with the people on the screen here and with other networks that we use, there's a pretty good chance that if we don't know, we'll know somebody who does. So what I would say is, don't be frightened of asking the question, please. Don't let it sit and worry you, even though I had one guy recently on export saying, I've got a pallet on my loading bay and I'm actually frightened to ship it now. Let's not be, we've heard some pretty negative stuff today as well, but also let's think about, things will get better. It is a little bit difficult now. Everybody agrees that. And the ton of information that Alan and John and we all get on a daily basis, which is mind-numbing, I have to say. So please come through to us. One of the team will pick this up and get back to you as quickly as we can. And in some cases, we have to signpost you to people who are very, very expert. Some of the VAT questions that we have are actually outside of our scope. So again, the message is, please just ask and we'll do our very best.
Lovely. Thank you very much indeed, Anton. So I'm sorry, it's rush, but these always are. Can I say huge thank yous to Nelsa, to Alan, to Anton, to Anna, and to Vicky. I'm sorry Janet de Havilland, Managing Director of Pendragon, couldn't make it today. She sends her apologies and her best wishes. Thank you, Nelsa, also for mentioning our Hearts in Hertfordshire campaign. There will be a lot of that coming out in the next few weeks. And don't forget, those that are interested, we've got an India Day. We did an India exporting webinar a few weeks ago with the UK India Business Council, and Siddharth from the Indian Business Council has said he'll do a one-day on the 25th of March. That's 1-to-1, which is on our website. So if you want to book that, or if you want any more information, let me know. And we will be having a country-specific webinar with Dubai coming up in April. Watch out for that. And one very last thing, I don't know my floodgates, but we've heard a lot of talk about this. We are at the Chamber being trained to do customs declaration forms in due course. We're not ready yet. We hope from April we'll be starting, so we'll send that round, so we should be able to help you even more, hopefully, doing those, but watch this space on that one. Right, that's it. Thank you so much to everybody for taking part in the panel and speaking. Thank you for everybody for listening. Thanks to Hertfordshire Growth Hub and my colleagues at Hertfordshire Chamber as well for putting everything together. Have a lovely rest of day and a less windy day, I think, out there, and all the very best to you going forward. And if you do have any queries, then please come to this group and indeed many others that are around to help you. Take care and all the very best. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you.
Very much.
Bye-bye.